You can't copy link on. That's stupid.
Okay, that's all the checks complete. We're ready to go. Pitting this lap then, come into the pits at the end of this lap.
Forgot we had a minute silence since it was coming back in the pits.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for complying with the minute silence for Jensen's late son.
Which I
Okay,
forgot.
so remember that the way the car
Well, I
handles
think
is
I've
all
got a
about
minute's
weight
silence.
transfer. When you brake, the centre of
I think
mass
both
moves
Jensen and
forward.
the
When
rest
you
of the grid
accelerate, it
would
moves
love to
rearward.
turn
And
our
when you turn
attentions
in,
in
it's pushed
tribute
to
to
the
his son,
outside of the car.
to the
More
racing
load on
today.
each tyre
Welcome
equals more grip. So make sure you're
to
smooth in the
round
controls to
6
prevent the
of
weight
Formula Regional
transfer
Series.
from
We are
becoming
here
too violent.
in Austria. 17 drivers are going to take the grid today. Highest number of drivers so far in a session, which means it's going to be even more challenging to get that top 10, get any sort of point on the board. Majority of the championship contenders are in this battle for the win today. We've got Alfie, we've got Jensen, we've got Langevin, again, finally back in the Williams after his dreadful round one where he was sort of disconnecting left, right and centre. We've got Shreves, however, we don't have his Red Bull teammate today, the man who dominated in such massive fashion last weekend. We do have Throne and EST, though, both in the Alpha Tower, who will look to improve on that double DNF finish that they suffered last weekend. TGT Palmer, though, on the back end of his first flying, that will see what happens to him as he comes across the line. The first banker of the day, so he may have invalidated that lap actually, so it will be this next one if he continues going, as he did. But Throne sets the opening time of the day. It's a 1 minute 4.4. It's a pretty decent banker lap. Obviously, we will be improving on that throughout the session. EST, that's not representative of his time. Obviously, maybe just taking either making a mistake or taking another lap to get right into his flow. But at the moment, it's the three Red Bull driving teams and cars that set a lap. But Survivor and Mighty Cam going through. Cam, a decent lap though from him, a 105.3, and then Survivor with a 104.7. It's been a long while since this man had been driving in Formula Regional Series. One of the original members. He's a very, very quick original member as well. He will be, if he's on the pace this weekend, he will be able to fight for a win. As Cheese, who I believe is making his debut today, has set his first lap in a Williams in P4. This is an interesting one for Williams. They've not really gotten off the line properly so far this season. They're currently joint last with 10 points. They are 9th though, so there will be a higher points finish from the team in the current sort of battle with McLaren. They're binding codes, the only one in McLaren today, so they will struggle to gain any sorts of big points. We do have two Ferrari drivers. TGT Barman was very, very aggressive last weekend. Was very quick as well, very, very impressive in Alfie's absence. Sort of wanted to prove himself, both to himself and to the rest of the pack, and I think it's fair to say he definitely did that last weekend. It was a statement. Obviously yet to set a lap at the moment. Meanwhile, who was the championship leader, Alfie, is now in P3. Obviously Jensen taking the championship lead after last weekend. They are neck and neck, both on 71 points. So their rivalry that has been back and forth throughout this entire season is definitely going to continue today in Austria. It's a fantastic little battle between these two, and especially with the likes of racers struggling to get into the lobby at the moment. He's sort of in and out and in and out. Obviously we'll see if he is able to get back in, but as it is, the man who got the win last weekend yet to get in, and it could be the case of, if he does get in, he'll be starting from the back. But at the moment, it is Smoking Cheese that is currently setting the quickest lap of all at the moment. The 104 flat on his debut is going to be looking to make a statement. Be very, very interesting if that Williams driver could get a mix-up and dish it out with those top runners. Charman is actually on a moving for his lap. He is invalidated, so he's backed out of this one. So is the McLaren. There's a Red Bull behind, who also is not on a lap at the moment. Shreves is going slowly. Just trying to find sort of any sort of driver that is going quickly. Matt Harris, I do believe, is on a flyer. So as we come up to the top of the hill, it's a 16.3 in the first sector. Matt Harris is the midfield driver, in case you've not sort of been following Formula Regional Series so far this year. We'll be looking to try and boost his position both in the Drivers and Constructors Championship. Currently sat in P9 in the Drivers on 24 points, only 2 points behind ARC Vettel, who does return. Or perhaps no, yeah, he does return to the grid this year. He's currently in P4 at the moment with a 1 minute 4.5. The brilliant thing about Austria as well is the quickest lap in Formula 1. These guys will be getting around the circuit in just over a minute which means these times are going to be very, very close. As Matt Harris comes across the line for his banker,
Everybody
it is
ready?
a 105.8. Jensen, that first lap is not representative of his time or his pace at all. He's already half a second quicker on this second lap, so we'll ride on board with Jensen then for the rest of this lap. We'll take you on board and see what the Alpine can do. Across the line then for Jensen's first proper lap of the session. It's 104.7 and only puts him P7 at the moment. I think he would like to improve on that, but obviously he did set that lap on 2-lap old tyres, which means he wouldn't have had as much grip. Langs Viber is also on a lap as well at the moment. He's got a little bit of traffic up in front of him, in fact quite a lot of traffic down this straight. He's going to have to hope that they either get out of the way or get a move on. One of the two, as we go back down the hill. This is a really tricky braking zone, and these drivers will be having to make sure they're super cautious, especially on lap 1. There'll be a lot of side-by-side action going through here. And then we get into the crust of this second to third sector. This really, really tricky left-hander. You don't want to turn in early. It's a really late apex. Same with the second half of it. And Lang looks like he's on a very, very decent lap here. The Williams team are having a very, very good showing at the moment, and they would love to get some big points on the board for the constructors as he comes around the final corner, making sure to stay within the white lines. As he comes across the line, he moves himself up into the front row to 1 minute 4.3. It's a very, very good lap, and at the moment it's a Williams 1-2, and that is, you have to say, a little bit of a shock considering what we are used to at the moment. So it's Williams 1-2, line and stern. Then it's Throne, who's making his way out onto track at the moment, currently sat in P3. He'll be happy with that. AlphaTauri were in the lead of the championship before last race, where they had a double DNF. It was an awful race for the Italian team. They're sat on 99 points at the moment. They would like to overtake Ferrari again here, but it will be a tall order. It will be a tough task this weekend. EST comes across the line with a 104.1, just over a tenth of a second behind Cheese. He's on the front row at the moment as it stands, but it's very, very close. The top 6 separated by only half a second at the moment, and it's only going to close up as the rest of the session continues. Interestingly though, the only man not to settle up yet is TGT Palmer. He's still sat in the pits. So whether he's waiting until the absolute last moment in this session to go for a lap, I'm not too sure. But, well, either way, he is leaving it very late, which could cause some problems as we get into the back end of this session. Yellow flag in sector 2, but I think it's just some drivers going slowly, preparing for their laps. We'll still focus on Mighty Cam, who's currently in P8. It's a very decent lap from Cam, actually, you have to say, as he pulls into the pit, so obviously doesn't want to improve on that lap time at the moment. But at the moment for Cam in that McLaren, I think he'll be very, very happy considering the calibre of drivers we've got this weekend. He'll be happy to be into the top 10. If he can stay there for the race as well, he will be very, very happy. But Vettel and Throne are also on laps. Vettel is improving, but only slightly. What is his second sector split? We will see. It's getting towards the crunch time of this session now, as the drivers are getting through to their last few laps. I think Vettel has backed off. Yeah, he's a long way away now. So we'll turn our attention to Throne, who is on a much more competitive lap. He's only got a handful of corners to go. He's got the 2 Haas cars in front of him, but hopefully they don't get in the way as we come around the final corner. He's so close to the white line. He's using all the track available to him. As he comes across the line, he gets onto the front row. It's ding-dong between him and EST. They're interchanging all the time. Still, nobody can get to that man Cheese's time, who is a 10th up already on his previous best. So the man in provisional pole position is already in P1 and he's trying to pull away even further with that. It's a massive upset at the moment, and with 2 Williams cars inside the top 5, they will be absolutely celebrating that. Considering they're only on 10 points at the moment in the standings, this would be huge. A little bit squirmy coming through the back end of the second section. Smoking Cheese with a couple corners to go. Can he rescue this lap? Potentially be the first lap into the 1 minute 3s. Let's see. No, he's invalidated. He's taken a little bit too much time out. He comes across the line, he backed off. It's a 104.4, but as you can see in the right hand side of your screen, the track map going red.
All clear the garage, please. Cars ready to leave.
Meaning that he has invalidated his lap. And he will have to go again. About 4 minutes left of this session now for these drivers to try and improve. And we'll see probably the majority of them coming into the pits now and then going out with around about 2 minutes to go, trying to get the quickest track binding program tyres from the session. So he obviously feels like he can't improve from his P14 position. Jensen is a 10.5 up, and it looked like there, I just sort of flipped my eyes up to see him. It looked like he was a little bit squirmy through there. A lot of these cars, especially if you're running aggressive, can run very, very wide with the rear through that corner and that final corner, but the Alpine looks poised through there as he comes across the line. It's a 2/10 improvement, but unfortunately for Jensen, it's only P7 still, and he's invalidated his second lap. He should have enough time to pull back into the pits for another lap, but that's only if he's got enough tyres to do so as well. ARC Vettel is well behind. He needs to put into the pits now. He's been on those tyres for a while and he's sort of struggling to get a lap together, but he'll be happy with P6 at the moment. Now, what I've just noticed is Track Racer in the Red Bull has finally joined the session. We saw in Bahrain in race 1 of this year, all he needed was 1 lap to take pole position, and it was in facet pole position as well, doing it by over 2/10, I believe. Can he do it again here? It doesn't look like at the moment anybody can get close to Cheese in that first lap that he put in. Not even he could beat it in that second lap, but with 2 minutes to go, it is crunch time. Almost any one of these drivers, Jensen getting very squirmy as he comes into the pits. There you go. You can see the queue in the pit lane now. People are starting to come out. They'll have 1 warm-up lap before they go out for a flyer. To miss this last minute of qualifying. This is probably going to be the most exciting qualifying of the season. Oh, and there's almost a collision on the outlaps between Mighty Cam and one of the Alpha Tauris. I believe it was EST. But they could have come to blows there, which would have been very, very dangerous and would have potentially been a penalty during the race as well. But people are finally starting their flying laps now. We've got less than a minute. It's last chance saloon now. These laps are the ones that have to count. TGT Palmer needs a lap on the board. If he's with it, if he's zoned in, he could be a challenger for the top 5, maybe even the front row. He's got the last few corners now. What can he do for that Ferrari? Final corner, does he keep it clean? Does he keep it quick? It's time to see across the line. Palmer jumps up, it's only P6. He's got enough time for another lap, but whether he'll be able to improve, I'm not too sure. And the drivers are all flooding through to finish their laps now. It's an Aston Martin, it's Sharpman. He will be the next to come across the line. He's 2/10 up. Can he push his way into the top 10, into the 1 minute 4s? We'll see around the final corner. It looked a little bit sluggish. He might want to be a little bit quicker than that, but it is a 1 minute 4.9 for Chartman. He comes across in 2:10. We now pay our attention to Rodrigo, who's in the Alpine. Jensen doesn't improve on P8. That's a little bit of a shock for him. As we come across the line now, Track Racer, the man who's only just joined us, he validated. It was a 104.2, which means he will start from the back today. It's not what he wanted. Alfie is not improving. He needs a strong third sector to try and get up the grid. He's currently in P5. Does he improve? No, it's not enough to gain any further. Mighty Cam, what can he do? A smoking cheese with a massive lap. He solidifies pole position for himself, surely. Unless Throne or EST can do anything about it. EST round the final corner. Can he snap pole? No, he can't. He can't improve. It's down to Throne, who across the line can only improve into P3. But what a fantastic lap that was for Smoking Cheese. Palmer across the line. He smashed his front wing open as he comes across the line. But what an exciting end it was to that qualifying session. Sharkman isn't improving, so that is your final order. Nobody can touch this man in the Williams, and in a massive, massive upset, the team that are joint last in the constructors' standings are front row lockout drivers. It's Smoking Cheese, followed by Lange Viber, and they will be 1 and 2 going into the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. What a fantastic qualifying session that was. Throne and EST right behind those two once again within a tenth of each other. They are so close in terms of pace, and Throne through the last few races, definitely fair to say he has been improving. He's been slowly gaining on his teammate. But the story of the day so far, that man in the Williams. Here are your order for the grid. It's Smoking Cheese in P1 for the Williams on his debut. What a way to show yourself to a new lot of drivers and your new team. And it's Viber in P2 as well, which locks out the front row for Williams. And it's Throne and EST. It's Line and Stern for AlphaTauri, who will want to get away off the line quickly. But they will have to keep in mind the prancing horses behind them of Alfie and TGT Palmer in 5 and 6. They will want to get into the mix. The ever-consistent ARC Vettel lines up P7 with a hungry Jensen right behind. It's Rodrigo P9, Chartman 10th, Shreves 11th, Mighty Cam P12, and then it's Alan, Apex Racer, Matt Harris, Binding WCRS Fusion, Bananas, and Trat Racer, who did not set a time. That rounds up your grid. Top 10 separated by 1 second. Top 5 separated by half a second. The win could be anyone's. Anyone could finish in any sort of position at the front. Do not miss this race. Please do make sure as well to put your predictions into the chat below. Who do you think going to take the win and who is also going to round off the podium? Really could be anyone's. So it's been so beautiful so far about this season. You know, we've got Alfie and Jensen up at front, but realistically, if we're talking on pure pace, those two do seem to, in terms of one lap pace, they're not the quickest on the grid. As we've seen by the two Williams today, and we've seen by Alfie only just scraping the top 5 start, and Jensen only down in P8, but he's not happy about that. We turn our attention, however, to the start of this race. It's just a few moments away. Here we go then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are go in Austria. It's a decent start by Cheese, and Lange Viber is alongside him, but he's dropped. He's already dropped to Throne, and Throne up in the inside into turn 1, take P2. The Ferraris are swamping the other AlphaTauri as well as EST, dropping all the way to P6. It's an awful start for AlphaTauri. Ferrari moving up the grid as we run up the hill. It's AlphaTauri and Haas now side by side. Vettel wanting to get into the mix. Meanwhile in front, Alfie. What a start.
That's a decent start. Good job.
Now, side by side as we now run down the hill. It's Alfie on the inside, Viber on the outside. What can they do? It's 3 wide behind as well, but we'll take our focus to Alfie, who's shoving his car up the inside, squeezing the Williams, and he has, by the looks of things, just about gotten P3. What a start for him, but no, the Williams shoving it up the inside from absolutely out of nowhere. The Ferrari has to concede the position. and Survivor has his blushes spared for now at least. Trout Racer already was a start from him. Starting last, he's already made his way up into P12 with a little bit of contact behind. Some mistakes. Matt Harris is dropping back already. Side by side up in front as well. Sharpman having to give way. But what a start that was. Cheese got away well. His teammate, however, not so much, but they're still battling up in front. Survivor is right behind that Ferrari. He wants to regain those positions that he lost off the start. Cheese as well, it's interesting to see. He started on the soft, so he wants to be aggressive and pull away at the start here, but that is not working. As Throne goes round the outside, at the top of the hill. This is the battle for the lead at the moment. It's Cheese and Throne. Side by side, it's wheel to wheel. The two that started right notes to each other at the start. So close as we come down the hill. And the Alpha Tower is swooping round the outside. He's got the better exit. He's still not got it done though. He's up the inside. There's battling all behind as well with another Alpha Tower and Williams. They're both squabbling. The inter-team battles are fantastic here. And finally Throne gets through. And now Alfie seizes the opportunity, and Cheese, after that fantastic pole position, that was dropped all the way into P3. And now Alfie all of a sudden wants to look for the lead. This is a fantastic start between the two, but Throne is having to turn attack into DRS. He's got the prancing horse right behind him. And that's the one thing you don't want to see as an F1 driver, is look into the rear and see that black and red Ferrari car. Here he is, he's in the slipstream, he's already using overtaking, the DRS is activated, and it should be a pretty clean overtake up the hill. Throne will get another chance with the DRS down the next hill, but it's going to be ding-donging back and forth, everybody through this race. Palmer's trying to get in the mix as well. He's alongside one of the Williams cars, but Williams after starting 1-2 on the grid are slowly but surely dropping back down the order. Throne looked like he wanted to have a move. He thought better of it for EST, and Vettel now side by side. EST has had to commit to dropping to P7, and Vettel moves his way up into 6th on the set of hard tyres as well. That is a fantastic little start by ARC Vettel. But Rodrigo as well in the Alpha Tauri, in the Alpine I should say, is now right behind EST, cracking battles throughout the whole grid. We've got to keep an eye as well on Jensen and Sharpman. They're going side by side through the final two corners. That's not somewhere you want to be side by side. And Jensen has found that out the hard way. There was either contact there or he span on his own accord. He's going to have to dive into the pits. And surely there'll be a big change of strategy here. Either that or he might even be running into the pits to retire. But not the start that Jensen wanted. Meanwhile, back up in front, we're side by side for the lead once again. It's Throne and Alfie. Throne wanted to back off there. I think he wanted the DRS in the slipstream. As we come up the hill, you can see that flap open in his rear wing, which means he's going to have a massive boost coming down the hill. Meanwhile, Alfie's teammate is on the attack. It's side by side. It's 3 cars all going 2 by 2 by 2 down the hill. Luckily, no contact is made. Alfie just about staying in front in the lead at the moment, but that is all. It's super clean racing so far from the front runners. The top 10 all separated pretty much by less than a second. The top 8 are right next to each other. When I said that anybody could win this race, I bloody meant it. This is so close now at the moment. Binding Code at the back, obviously struggling off the start. There's a few little bits of disparity towards the back of the grid, but we're focusing on this lead battle at the moment. It really is a game of chess at the moment. As Throne stuck his nose up the inside, but Alfie firmly shuts the door. And as we come up the hill, it actually leaves Throne under threat to Alfie's teammates. Maybe a little bit of team gameplay going on there. Palmer is going to go round the outside. It's almost 3 wide behind as well. But Alfie, that looks like a pretty decent exit for both Alfie and Palmer. So we now return to a Ferrari 1-2. The lead is in the constructors. Now in the lead of this race, and it is 3 wide behind. It's Slang, Vettel and EST. There was a little bit of contact there. They've come out relatively unscathed, but it got very close on the exit of that corner. It's so tight, and like I was saying before as well, this really is a chess match. You don't want to be in the lead for too long because you want to save your tyres, you want to save your fuel, you want to save your ERS. All of this comes into factor towards the back end of the race, and it's also about strategy. You don't want to pit too late and miss this DRS train and fall down the order as Rodrigo pits. This is tactical. Or did he have some front wing damage? It'll be interesting to see if we can get like a slightly different camera angle before we cut back to the race lead. Yes, he is. He's getting a new nose cone. We can't see any damage on front to us, but it may be a precautionary sort of change for the Alpine. A big shame for Rodrigo, who had a pretty decent start and was looking quite racy. And meanwhile, back in front, it is Ferrari, line and stern. Are there going to be team orders here? I've answered my own question, that's a no. Palmer going up the inside of Alfie, squeezing him into the right-hander. And luckily for the Ferrari boys, they make it through unscathed. Just wonder, is that battling going to cause an issue at some point during this race? Roland Zweiber fighting hard as well. Can't help but think now, Smoking Cheese and his soft tyres are starting to degrade, as Roland's just had to really completely back off, and he dives into the pits as well. So quite a few drivers pulling into the pits very, very early here. Front wing damage maybe, or just a change of strategy, I'm not too sure. But the Williams drivers almost going side by side into turn one. It's a super, super tight apex. You do not want to be going side by side through there. But Zweiber has got the run up the hill. Cheese does not have the DRS. And he's not going to be getting the grip off those soft tyres anymore. And Zweiber gets through, but does he get a good enough exit? Cheese looked like he went for the switchback, but up in front, it is 3 wide for the battle for the lead. We're going to see 3 cars going side by side down the hill for the lead. EST, is he going to make a double overtake here? I believe he is. It's fantastic from the AlphaTauri driver. He put Ferrari in their place, and AlphaTauri move their way into the lead through EST. It's a super overtake, probably one of the overtakes of the race so far. He's got a chance to beat it, but these 3 now starting to pull away from the Williams and the rest of the drivers in the pack, which is interesting. They're starting to pull away despite the fact they are fighting, going side by side through quite a lot of corners. Another thing that will be a big factor this weekend is track penalties. You cut the track 3 times, it's a 3-second time penalty. These drivers, as much as they're pushing hard, they need to stay within the white lines because it could cost them anything. And Palmer, I should say, proving what I was just saying. He went wide and now he's got a 3-second time penalty, which will be added at the end of the race. But it doesn't matter, he's going so aggressive round the outside to get to the top of the hill, and now he's side by side with EST. Look at them, they're going side by side, they're so close, it's squeezing almost onto the grass is Palmer, and as you see through the helicopter shots, EST with the inside line. He could squeeze, he's making it pretty respectful to Palmer, but you know that Palmer's just going to absolutely shove it up the inside. It's so close. They're still going side by side through the third sector. It's fantastic racing, but finally EST gets his elbows out the most and stays in front. However, he's going to have to defend though. The Ferrari around the outside in the final 2 corners. What fantastic racing we've got so far. Absolutely incredible stuff. Palmer wants that position back as soon as possible. He doesn't want to wait. He wants to get in front and he wants to pull away in this race, and he does just that. But we'll give Alfie the chance because the AlphaTauri just had to back off on the exit there. Ferrari's going slowly. Are we going to see them go 3 wide again at the top of the hill? No, they think sensibly about it. As the Ferrari drivers swap together, it's so hard to keep up with what's going on at the moment. There's action every single second of the race. What a brilliant race this is so far, and they are still going side by side. It's 3 Italian teams as well, all line and stern. Just getting wide as well that Palmer's penalty will be removed. So we did see that he sort of ran very wide and didn't actually gain an advantage. So that penalty is getting removed, but if he makes another error, runs wide, gets another warning, then that penalty obviously will be reinstated. However, Williams drivers though, this is definitely something we can talk about. They were up there at the start, you know. They've got P1 and P2, and then they sort of dropped off the line. She's got an okay start on the softs, because they're softer and he had a stronger grip off the line. Zweiber just sort of went nowhere, and it was the same with him, both him and EST. Really struggling off the line as the Ferrari squabbling yet again. They really struggled off the line. They dropped a lot of positions, and then there were a few drivers that went up, a few drivers that didn't. One driver that we haven't really talked about, who's sort of become unnoticed, is Track Racer. We know how this guy is quick. He just couldn't get that lap in qualifying. And yes, he does have a time penalty for track limits, I would imagine. He's on the hard tyres. He's already up into P7, and he's 3 seconds away from DRS from the front runners. Track Racer, from last on the grid, has pulled an absolute blinder at the moment. He's been very, very quiet in his drive up the grid. Meanwhile, Jensen and Rodrigo, super close to each other, the Alpine teammates for this weekend. It's not been the best race so far for Jensen, it has to be said. He's come into the pits early, he's already got a penalty. It doesn't look like his pace is all over there. As EST gets a time penalty, so now it's Alfie. He's the only one out of the top two. So Thomas is getting removed. But for now, in game, he's the only one whose penalty has not been removed. And Smoking Cheese comes back out. So he did 11 laps on those softs. It's pretty decent. I think we're happy with that actually. Tyre wear is not massive round here. Basically just due to the nature of it being a short circuit. And when the tyres get old, you lose a lot of time because the especially the long right and left-handers in the second and third sectors, really you have to hold tight onto your tyres. But he's gone onto the mediums, which means he'll probably be doing a two-stop here. So whether he'll go onto another set of mediums at the end of the race, or maybe prolong these if he's got another set of softs, I think he'd be more than happy to go onto a set of soft compound tyres at the end of the race. But he's in a bit of clean air here. And if he can catch up to those drivers in front, because he's in the clean air, yes, he doesn't have DRS like the rest of them do, ding-donging off each other, but he does have fresh tyres and a fresh track in front of him, or for 2.5 seconds at least. But these guys up in front are still fighting, and it's allowed Survivor back into this. And there's something that's happened with a Mercedes. It's Adam, whether there was contact made there with either his teammate or something, I'm not too sure. But Adam's having to recover it right at the start of the middle section. Look at this. It could even be 4 wide. It's not going to be, but they're darting in and out down the straight. A little bit of contact there. EST just sort of pushing Palmer through the corner, and we are 3 wide. The Ferrari just sneaks up the inside. Alfie there, brilliant driving by him and squeezing the Williams. And it did look like there was contact, and there very much was. Alfie and Zwiber have taken each other out here. Luckily, it doesn't look like there's any damage, only to their pride, but they're now about 3.5 full seconds behind the 2 drivers they were battling for the win. They seem to just come together. We knew 3 into 1 would not go into there, and they came together, they made the contact, and they ended up worse for wear, and it meant that Zwiber has had to pull into the pits and is going to change his strategy for sure. A little bit of excitement now in that in the battle for the lead, I should say. EST and Palmer now are the 2 favourites, however, both of them with a penalty. Smoking Cheese setting the fastest lap of the race, so he's already gaining his time back on these front runners. ARC Vettel, much like Track Racer has been on the softs, he's been very, very quiet, and he's been slowly making his way up the order. For Track Racer, I think by the end of this race, he'll be well up in the podium places, potentially even more, as there's more drivers getting penalties. Everybody's struggling at the moment with track limits and making sure they stay within the white lines. But we need to keep focused, especially on the likes of the Williams, the Pistons. While we came onto the hards, you'll have to go 26 laps on those. And yes, it is a short lap around Austria, but he'll do very, very well to take them to the end. If he does, it'll be a master stroke strategy for sure. But Smoking Cheese is not very far away from those front runners at all. If you can see your mini-map there, those front runners are just going through turn 1, where you see that number 1 on your screen going on that long hill at the top. He's not that far away. He'd be about 4 or 5, maybe even more seconds ahead if they all came into the pits. Obviously, Cheese starting on the minis meant he had to stop early. Those dots in front could well be doing just a 1-stop. Taking them, Palmer and EST have taken their tyres pretty much to lap 15 as it is, as they're still going side by side. The wheels almost locking as they go down the hill. They're still side by side, which will mean that Vettel will be able to close the gap as they go through this third sector, and Palmer eventually deciding very aggressively to dive back into the slipstream. But in doing so, he's lost a little bit of time. He's got to make sure he doesn't completely lose sight of EST through this final sector. Track race around the outside. It was a pretty decent overtake by Alfie, pulling into the pits. He made a pretty decent recovery after that contact. We'll have to try and find another angle of that collision between Survivor and Alfie. I'm not too sure what happened. It may be dealing with racing incidents. We saw, from what I remember, it's sort of Alfie turned in very aggressively, maybe not knowing that there were 3 cars there, sort of collected each other, and then both of them were sort of counteracting their own steering, went off into the gravel. It could have been a lot worse. And I'll be honest, you know, no bias at all, but for the sake of this Grand Prix, it's very, very good that they only lost a few seconds, because it means that they can continue battling. And this is interesting. Alfie has come out on track right behind the man who he made contact with and took into the gravel. This is personal now. They don't want to make contact this time, surely, as Alfie goes straight through. And that pace down the straight with the DRS is so clear of that Williams. Even to the point where Survivor is unable to go for a little dive bomb up the inside. ARC Vettel now with a time penalty. This is going to be so difficult now to keep track of these time penalties. All of the drivers, because we're so close, because everybody's battling so hard, anyone can take this win, and it's meaning that they're driving so quickly, so aggressively. They're just pushing a little bit too hard at the moment. We'll have a quick little look at the penalties accumulated so far. So EST, Palmer, Vettel, track racer, all with 3 seconds. Obviously we had word from the race director, the track racer's time penalty will be ridded off. Shreves, his Red Bull teammate, also with a time penalty as track racer pulls to the inside and gets in front of ARC Vettel. It's a pretty decent overtake, and it's another penalty for Jensen. He is struggling. The man who's joined in the lead of the championship at the moment is not having a fun time of things until he sat it outside of the points. Granted, there are drivers in front of him that are yet to make a pit stop, but even still, struggling this race is Jensen. Fusion getting a time penalty as well. He's sat in 16th. It's going to be probably pretty difficult for him to get any points today. TGT Palmer is in the pit zone. We'll keep an eye on him. Whereabouts will he come out? So obviously his teammate had that collision with Survivor earlier on, and it meant that they lost quite a bit of time. However, they've had these fresh tyres to go on and clear track, and yet Alfie has gotten out in front of TGT Palmer, but it's between Palmer and Survivor now. Where is Survivor? He's not there. He's pulling into the pits again here as Langsviber. Well, he's got some damage. He's had to repair his front wing. So you may have seen on the timing tower there that he was about 2 seconds back from Alfie. I think there was a little bit of damage to his front wing. Maybe he clipped the wall on pit exit when he came out, or another time, or if he made contact with another driver. I really don't know, but bar any safety cars or any major issues on track for other drivers, that could be very costly to that man and Williams' chance of a podium. And this is interesting. ARC Vettel, who's well on course to a good result today, has just been disqualified for, I believe, rejecting the pit exit. So it must mean that he sort of came out of the pits and he didn't go anywhere. But that's insane. Vettel's retired, and he's been disqualified, and at the same time, Apex Racer, his teammate, has also DNF'd, which means the Haas drivers are gone from this race. No safety car at the moment. A safety car would have been perfect for the likes of Cheese and Trap Racer. Cheese is already back into P2. Remember, Trap is yet to pit. He's gone 17 laps on those hards. They are definitely going to be feeling the pace now, as you can see Cheese slowly but surely reeling him in. Don't be too alarmed. at the fact that Cheese is almost 10 seconds ahead of the likes of EST and Alfie. He is doing the 2-stop, so he's got more leeway to push harder on those tyres. But seeing as they are 8 laps old now, which will mean that the likes of EST and Palm will be going quicker. It will be very interesting. We mentioned this very, very briefly at the start of the race. Whether Cheese will actually go onto a set of softs or a set of mediums, I don't know. I don't really keep track of how many sets of softs he used during qualifying. If he used all his allocated soft tyres, he won't have any more. So if he wanted to come out on soft, he'd have to come out on a used set.
Okay, come on,
But I think in terms of fuel pace, he would then just be better off going on to the mediums. But these two can't get away from each other. Palmer and EST is AlphaTauri and Ferrari once again, and this time getting it done a lot quicker than previously. Palmer moving his way into position 5, and we want to start to close down Alfie, because Alfie's come out of the pits and he's been a man on a mission. He's been rapid as Alfie. All of a sudden he's come back out of the pits. He's been a man possessed, absolutely started flying away from his driver. He's flown away from his teammates, and he's flown away from EST as well, who he was neck and neck with. Bananas comes into the pits. He had a very, very decent race last week, and I believe he did finish in the points in his Formula Regional Series debut. But here is Track Racer. Now 1, 2 and 3 behind EST and Palmer. Track will be going to the end on those mediums, but he will have the pace advantage now. But for now only, they will be slow up towards the end of the race. But now in the summer, this Red Bull is going to become a massive, massive threat in this race. We know how quick Tratt is. He invalidated his lap in qualifying, so he was unable to set that lap. There was a little bit of contact there between him and EST. They've got a little bit of rivalry. If you remember the second race, the third race, I should say, the third race of the season, in Qatar, those two had proper ding-dongs, and they actually made contact in the sprint race. I do believe it was the Formula Regional Series. It was our first sprint race of the season. They made contact, both of them actually spinning during that race as well and dropping down the order. Shreves comes into the pits after going 19 laps. He's gone the whole race distance so far on those hard tyres. He's done very, very well for himself. He's going to make this final stint a lot more pleasant as well. Somebody who has been silent is Chartman. He's going to the end on those hards, and he's currently sat in P6, which will be some very, very big points for Aston Martin, and they sort of need it. Meanwhile, Tratt is finally starting to figure out how to get through these guys. He knows that in that Rebel, he's got more pace than those two. He knows that he wants to use those mediums now before they start to go off. He knows that he needs to get up the inside of the Ferrari as we go down the hill, and he makes sure to do it. And he puts a car length in front of Palmer, and now he'll want to put 1 second as well in front of him to try and pull away and catch their leaders. But for me at the moment, if I was a betting man, it'd be one of these top 3 to win this race. Cheese does have to come into the pits, but he will be very, very quick when he comes back out, probably around a second a lap quicker, I would say, as he pops back out. Aston Martin, yeah, currently 8th at the moment in the standings, so on 18 points. So a P6 would be a massive, massive sum. They'd be very, very happy with that. Yeah, 8 points, I believe, if I have calculated that right. Yes, I have, yeah. 8 points would be massive for them. It wouldn't improve their position in the standings. And in fact, as it is, they would be overtaken by Williams, but it would secure their safety sort of from McLaren.
Okay,
and both Michael Camp and Ryan Taylor outside of the point. How really good qualifying. I'm not sure really where he's gone in the race. Maybe he's been in the wars a little bit. Sort of beef between people, had a bit of a ding-dong. Which has resulted in him dropping back ever so slightly. Need to focus though on that gap between Cheese and Alfie, because whereas Cheese was gaining and gaining and gaining on these drivers before, that sort of stopped as he's on 12 lap old mediums. If you're new to Formula 1, there's a yellow flag. May be a back marker getting out of the way. Yes, I believe it was. It may have been Matt Harris. It was just sort of around the leaders. There may have been a bit of contact there, but as I was saying, so 3 compounded tyres, soft, medium and hard. The hard tyres, they last the longest, the medium and the ground soft, vice versa compared to the hards. But those hards, because they last longer, they're going to be quicker. So obviously when they're 1 lap old, mediums will be quicker than hards. When they're both 10 laps old, the hards will be quicker than the mediums. There's a few time penalties going around here. There was a fastest lap of the race, I believe it was Jensen. Jensen or Langweiber, so fair play to the pair of them. Zweiber wants to get, he wants to catch back up, and there we go. So that was the point I was going on to. When does he give up on those mediums and pull into the pits? Because all he was doing at the moment, he was losing time. He was just making it harder for himself to catch up and overtake. And he's going to have to overtake a fair amount of cars. He does come out on the mediums. He's probably going to have about 7 or 8 tenths advantage in terms of pace to those front runners. However, Cheese didn't seem, or yes he was gaining, but it was because nobody else pit. He didn't seem too comfortable on any other tyre apart from the softs. He was rapid in 1 lap pace. Nobody could touch him during qualifying, but in the race pace he sort of backs off ever so slightly. We'll see what he can do. But this is crunch time now. All of these drivers up in front, they are battling properly for the lead, and Alfie is probably the one at the most disadvantage. He's got the oldest tyres and the slowest tyres. I think in terms of tyre strength and tyre pace at the end of the race, he'll probably be very, very similar to Track Racer. But as it stands, he will be holding on for dear life. Anybody can win this race now.
Pace is strong.
It's so close. If Cheese can get in front of Startman quickly, he's got clean air to gain on these race leaders. And what did I say at the start of this race? Keep an eye on Track Racer. This man looks like he's about to pull off a last to first, which would be absolutely fantastic if he was able to do so. Probably go down as one of the greatest drives in Formula Regional Series history. And it looks like he's about to put one hand on that title. He goes up the inside and there's contact between the two. Alfie and Track Racer, they managed to keep going in a straight line, but it sort of turned into each other, and Track and Alfie made contact on the track for the first time this season. The first of many, I am sure, but that wasn't in the script, and that does make things interesting as a yellow flag. I do believe it's the back marker once again, but it's starting to get a little bit aggressive out in front. Alfie is going to struggle to stay with Track Racer now. Look at the disparity in tyre wear. 10 lap old hards for Alfie, 6 lap olds for Track. As long as he stays in the DRS though, this is why Austria has been so good for battling at the moment. We saw earlier that Zweiber is probably about maybe half a second slower than Alfie, but he was able to stay and battle with him because there's 3 DRS straights, one after the other. There's the one in the start-finish straight, you turn right, and there's another one up the hill, and then we turn right where we are here. There's a little bit up the hill, and then it's the charge down the hill where these cars will hit up to almost excess of 210 miles an hour. It's not enough though for the Ferrari to go up the inside. He has to stay just about where he is for now.
Just managed to gap to the car behind. We think we've got a time penalty.
It's going to be a proper battle with 10 laps to go. Absolutely anybody could win this race, and you have to keep in mind as well, time penalties.
Safety car. No overtaking, reduced
conceded.
pace. He gets out a number positive.
If Alfie could stay within DRS, and there's a safety car, that changes things completely. If Alfie there would start the track and drive into the pits at the last minute, I wonder what the stewards would say about that, but it's a bold and brilliant move by Alfie. The safety car came out too late for those other two in front of him to do anything about it. But this is going to make the battle for the win at the end of the race absolutely incredible. EST has been given a drive-through. It's got a drive-through speeding under the safety car as well. Everything has kicked off all of a sudden. safety car has come out. I don't even know what the safety car came out
Right,
for.
drop your speed. Our delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace
Now, battle that
immediately.
we had at the start of the race, the battle that we
overtake.
thought we were going to have for the end of this race, has been completely turned on its head, because Track Racer and Palmer, the safety car call came out too late for them to dive into the pits. Alfie cut over the white line. He did corner cut. We saw he cut across the track to get into the pits. Whether the stewards will take any sort of action on that, we'll have to see. I wonder if we could get a word from the race director to see if they'll be reviewing that, or if that will be a slam dunk penalty, or if they will leave it, so we can take that into account for the battle for the win. But I've got a feeling that the true winner of this Grand Prix may not be decided until quite a while after the race.
Okay, slow down. Your delta's negative, which means you're going too fast.
Now
Reduce your pace.
diving into the pits. Track Palmer EST finally going into the pits. Issue with EST though, he doesn't have a set of softs then, clearly. Either that, or he wanted to go for the medium so he'd be quicker at the end of the race. These guys, once the safety car comes in, they'll be going about 6 or 7 laps on these tyres. And I've got a feeling that EST just had ran out of softs and didn't want to jump into a reused set. Tell you who this has benefited though, the Aston Martin Chartman, because he saw the safety car, he read it when they came in. But Alfie's not actually gained much of an advantage at all from pitting as soon as the safety car came in. He could have waited until the next lap and he actually would have had one lap fresher tyres. Interesting. We should have around about 1 lap extra behind this safety car before it is. It's like our own mini sprint race as well. As Five has left the session, you want to get back in here, because realistically, anyone that's on a set of softs could win this race.
Catch up to the field a bit, we're dropping too far back. Remember, we need to stay within 10 car lengths of the next
What
car.
this does make interesting, because the whole pack is bunched up. These penalties become absolutely crucial to this race, because these guys are all going to be within the DRS of each other. Not for the first few laps after the safety car, but on the third one, the green flag racing, we will have DRS once again. This is fantastic. Binding code has actually fallen into the pits, I believe, through the tyre.
Let's pick up the pace a touch, please. We need to close to within 10 car lengths of the car ahead.
Didn't give it a 3-second time going to the corner cut here. And he's dropped behind a few drivers. Also, I've not been able to pick up on this. The sky is kind of grey. And the track seems a little bit darker. We're not going to be seeing any rain, so that even further add to the drama of this race, are we? That would be absolutely insane, as the safety car should be in this lap. We'll hopefully see that label on our screen at some point this lap. There it is, race control says safety car in this lap. This is going to be fantastic. Everyone on a level playing field now. Same tyres. It's all down to pure racing grit. This is it. Just a handful of corners. When will Track Racer release? When will he go? He can't go too early. He's still holding up the drivers behind. He's so tight and he's gone. He's bulleted away from the final sector. And as he does that, Alfie makes 3 seconds behind. Warnings for corner cutting. And he was the man who was keeping so clean in regards to that. That changes his tactic. But Trap Racer is now in the lead of this Grand Prix, and on a fresh set of softs, there are not many people in this league that can beat him. Smoking Cheese didn't have something to say about that after his qualifying. However, he is down in P5 at the moment. He's going to have to make some overtakes. There's overtakes behind. There's side by side. Surely the Ferraris will be going down the hill. They need to play the team game though. If they want this win for Ferrari, they've got to stay together and make sure that Trap Racer does not pull away. It's pretty much line and stone everywhere else behind. They're waiting for the DRS. Rodrigo and Twyford going side by side, who has dropped out of the session, which is a shame for him. But this is crunch time now. And Sharpman, who's not had the greatest start at all, is dropping positions here. Jensen is trying to redeem himself. He's gone back up the inside of Mighty Cam. That was snappy through the left hand there. He almost lost the car. Squabbling in front of him as well. Trap Racer has pulled into the pits. He got damage, I believe he does. EST does. He's put into the tyre as well. EST, no, he isn't. He's got that drive-through penalty, doesn't he? It's a drive-through penalty for EST that he needs to serve. Meanwhile, back up in front. It's so hard keeping an eye on all of them. Look how much of a lead the front runners have already. We thought it would be like a 4 or 5 man battle for the win towards the end of this Grand Prix. However, these three are so quick, and Sharpman has sort of acted like a cork in the bottle. Finally, Smoking Cheese got in front of the yellow flag behind. There's a little bit of contact at the top of the hill, and there is Banana, who's facing the wrong way in his Alfa Romeo. So there would have been contact at the top of the hill. And there's more contact. Adam is now sideways. All of the drivers struggling towards the back end of this race. Maybe the tyres are cold, maybe the track's cold, maybe they're getting too squirmy, too tired and too aggressive in their race seats. DRS is now ready to go, which means that Alfie is going to be under threat by his teammate. The championship leader now has got his teammate who is trying to climb up the championship order, nipping at his heels. Palmer wants to take that Ferrari #1 driver spot. He wants to prove himself, and he baits up the inside. He thinks better of it. He's going to wait for the better exit as we come down the hill. We'll ride on board with TGT Palmer. He's gaining on his teammate. He's not using overtake mode. He doesn't need it. He dives up the inside and eventually backs out. Are Ferrari playing the team game, or does Palmer know that he's got the pace and he's going to wait for an absolutely prime cut opportunity to overtake? We'll have to see. Sharpman is still sat in P5 in the Aston Martin. He wants to hold on to as many points as he can. He's going to hold on for dear life. It hasn't actually helped him, that safety car, because on pure pace he can't quite keep up with them. There's another collision here. Who is it? It's Rodrigo. Something's happened with Rodrigo. Rodrigo and another driver. I believe it may have been a McLaren in front. Because Mighty Cam is without a front wing. Rodrigo's been in the wall today, so has that McLaren. More contact, but those clouds are getting darker. It doesn't look overcast. It looks like it may rain in the final few laps of this race, which could make things interesting. Meanwhile, Palmer getting up the inside into turn 2. And there's a mistake there from EST. Has gone off at the second to last corner, which isn't going to help his cause at all. A great start, second row for EST. The race has gone from bad to worse, just like last weekend. Meanwhile, a brilliant little switchback by TGT Palmer. That's a fantastic bit of race car, which enables him to get back in front of his teammate. And as we can see from his nose, he shuts the door on the inside, which allows him to get into P2. But with these two Ferraris squabbling, it means that Trap Racer, the man that started, can I just remind you, in last place, it leaves him in the lead of this Grand Prix from absolutely out of nowhere. The one thing you have to think about though is time penalties. Trap and Palmer both for 6 seconds worth of penalties. Alfie with only 3. So as it stands, just about Alfie would actually be in the lead of this race. So Trap Racer needs to pull away. This is so tight between everybody on circuit. Pretty much everyone is on the softs inside the top 10, so we're going to keep it focused on a penalty just so we can keep track. And once again, Palmer going for that switchback. Alfie maybe a little bit too eager to get back in front of his teammate, and it means that Palmer has the better exit and can pull away down the hill. Only a handful of laps to go now. This could be anybody's for the podium, and EST does retire. It's 2 retirements in a row now for EST. from such promise at the start of this championship, starting to drop down now. But Smoking Cheese, he does not have a time penalty as of yet. If he can get within 6 seconds of Track Racer, he's about a second away from doing so. He could be in the shout for the win of this Grand Prix. We know that he is quick on the soft. There's another driver retiring. It's Rodrigo. 2 drivers starting to pull into the pits now, which means there's only 14 drivers left, but we need to keep our focus on these lots at the front. It's the final 2 laps of this Grand Prix. Track Racer has pulled that 3-second gap that he needed to do. Alfie and Palmer fighting side by side. Those Ferraris aren't helping each other. You could have won this race, boys, but instead you've decided to squabble, and now Alfie is dropping away from Track Racer. It's falling into Track's hand beautifully here. He's 3 seconds ahead. That's all he needs to be, because both Alfie and if Palmer gets that other 3-second time penalty removed, it will mean that he gets in the lead on this race as well. It's so close. One tiny mistake could make or break everything here. Smoking Cheese needs to get within 3 seconds of the drivers in front. He's so close to Alfie. This is going to be right on the line. It reminds me of Lando Norris and his maiden podium all those years ago when Lewis Hamilton had the 5-second time penalty in real life. It's going to be pushing right to the line. These guys will know exactly what they need to do. Charman as well. And Smoking Cheese has got a 3-second time penalty. He was pushing too hard, and that's surely his hopes and dreams of a podium crushed at the moment. It's going to be big points, but the man that started on pole, it's going to be a crushing blow for him. He's been so consistent with time penalties all race, but we still focus now. These 2 Ferraris, we're going to assume that Palmer is going to get that penalty revoked, so we've got to stay focusing with this battle. This is it for P2. They're not close enough for the win in this Grand Prix now. Alfie up the inside, and he shuts his teammate off. He makes sure that championship leader then gets in the way, but he's had a massive spin of oversteer, and it means that they're going to be going side by side into the corner. No, Alfie positions his car well, and well enough. His rears are absolutely gone. He had a smidgen of oversteer, more than a smidgen. He smacked the car, but it doesn't matter. Those 2 seem to have resolved their battles, so we're going to have to turn our attention last to first. Track Racer, what a result for the Red Bull driver. It's one of the greatest we've seen. Keep an eye on the penalties. TGT Palmer and Alfie side by side. Palmer gets through. Cheese actually overtakes Palmer into P3. But have a look at Chartman. He's within 3 seconds. No time penalty. It's a P5 for Aston Martin. It's a massive result for those. Super result. And I've just heard from the race director as well. TGT Palmer's penalty is not getting removed. Means he will be finishing P4. Throne comes home P6 after such promise at the start of the Grand Prix, and it's another big sum of points for AlphaTauri going wayward. Shreve's coming home P7 and Langeveiber 8th. His guys doing that for him. What an ending to a race. Undoubtedly the best race of the season so far. Formula Regional Series, you have pulled a fantastic race out once again. Driver of the day from the game is Track Racer. Please vote for your driver of the day as well in the chat below. But I think can't really argue too much with a last to first finish. An absolutely fantastic result. Unbelievable. Didn't set a lap in qualifying. Started on the hards. Bided his own time. He let the leaders fight for the entirety of the Grand Prix, and he controlled that safety car restart beautifully. Pulled away, did his job, did it so well. You put that man in the lead of the race. Sometimes he can struggle getting through the pack. If he's in the lead, there's just something about him. You just can't get back in front. But there it is. Your final standings for the Austrian Grand Prix, I should say. Track Racer. Last to first, P1 for him, and the fastest lap as well to boot. It's a massive result for him, and he closes the gap to the drivers in front of the championship. Alfie P2, he'll be happy with that, which means he will extend his lead in the championship. And Smoking Cheese on debut gets a podium. It's TGT Palmer P4, Sharpman in the Aston Martin 5th. He'll be very happy with a 5th. And then it's Throne, Shreves, Zwiber in the Williams, Bananas, and Jensen P10 with 4 seconds worth of penalties. He won't be happy with that. And then rounding off outside the points is Adam Mighty Cam Matt Harris in P14 as well, and then EST, Rodrigo, Binding Code, Apex, and the ARC Vettel all unable to get to the finish. But wow, what a brilliant race that was. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to join us at the same time next weekend as we continue our European leg this season as we head to Great Britain. The home Grand Prix for a lot of our drivers. Please be there, 6th of October. And thank you so much for joining us. My name's Bin Judd, and we will see you later.
You can join me at 8 o'clock as I compete with Amateur Racing Club and a bunch of 5 lappers. So join us 8 o'clock tonight.